Hello good people, it is probably time for me to start talking about biology proper. I mentioned that biology is the study of life, and by that I did not mean just individual life, but also how life interacts with other living, biotic, and non-living, abiotic components. It is a study of a complex web and all the great things that emerge out of it. Although nature does not care much for categories, charts and diagrams, in sciences we use them because they help us organize knowledge. Let's create a diagram that takes us from the atoms to the biosphere. It will show the levels of biological organization. There are different versions of this diagram, some of them with more levels, others with fewer. We are going to start with the humble atoms, the smallest unit of matter. The 6 most prominent elements needed for life are the Schnops elements: carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. This is not to say that others, such as sodium, potassium, calcium, iron, and iodine, are not important. They are just less abundant. Atoms will combine to give ionic and covalent compounds. Ionic compounds can be referred to as formula units, while covalent compounds are known as molecules. Important molecules needed for life, at least on Earth, are molecular nitrogen, water, and amino acid glycine, for example. There are many others, most of them containing carbon, which is why we often refer to life on Earth being carbon-based. That being said, the molecule that makes the chemistry of life possible is water. Molecules can combine to give macromolecules. The prefix macro comes from the Greek word makros, meaning long or large. For example, individual glucose molecules will link together to give cellulose that is responsible for the plant cell walls. Glucose molecules can also link to give starch, an important component of our diets that is found in seeds, tubers, and roots. Another important example of macromolecules are proteins. Not only are they an important part of our diet, but they are also the workhorses of the cell. Note that there are 4 main types of macromolecules that are important for life: carbohydrates, known as sugars, lipids, commonly referred to as fats, and then we have proteins and nucleic acids. A lot more on them and the ways to represent them later on. Macromolecules working in unison will give rise to cell organelles. The word organelle is the diminutive of the word organ, which is Latin for instrument. These organelles are specialized structures that perform specific tasks within a cell. For example, mitochondria are responsible for the synthesis of adenosine triphosphates, the energy molecules of the cell, while the chloroplasts enable photosynthesis. A cell is what we get when a whole bunch of organelles work together. The word cell comes from Latin word cella, meaning small room or a chamber. A functioning cell is considered the smallest unit of life, and we are going to spend a decent chunk of time talking about cells. Groups of cells with specialized structural features and functions will form tissues. The human body has 4 main types of tissue: connective, epithelial, muscle, and nervous tissue. When several types of tissues come together to help perform a particular function, the result is an organ. The stomach, much like most of the organs in the human body, consists of all 4 main tissue types. Several organs working together will give an organ system. The digestive system includes the stomach, the small and large intestine, the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, the mouth, and the esophagus. A combination of a number of organ systems gives rise to an individual organism, such as this goat, or possibly you and me. Well, maybe not you, I have no idea who's watching this right now. Organisms rarely exist in total isolation, and so a number of organisms of the same species, such as humans in a particular area, give rise to a population. Several populations of different species are referred to as a community, so all the people living in your street or town are considered a population. However, all the people together with their dogs, cats, gimps, as well as the wild animals sharing the space, are considered a community. Once we have communities interacting or being influenced by their physical environment, we start talking about an ecosystem. In other words, an ecosystem requires biotic and abiotic components. Beyond ecosystems, we get to a biosphere. A biosphere is the sum of all of the ecosystems existing on our planet. It is a global system that integrates all living things, their interactions with each other, and the environment that surrounds them. Note that this hierarchy of terms does not suggest that one level is somehow better than the other. Each level might be more complex than the previous one, but they are all interdependent. Aside from creating nice little categories to sort out our knowledge, the levels of biological organization are used to introduce the concept of emergent properties. These are properties that, funnily enough, emerge as we go from one level to the next. Emergent properties can be encompassed by the statement, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. In other words, the properties of the building parts might be completely different from the properties of the finished product. For example, sodium is a poisonous metal that reacts violently with water. Chlorine is a poisonous nonmetal. And yet, when we combine the two, we end up with sodium chloride, or table salt that I might put on my chips. There was no way to predict the property of the salt based on the properties of the starting materials. It can be argued that life is an emergent property. The macromolecules that make up the organelles are not alive, nor are the organelles. Yet when we put it all together, we get a cell that is alive. An argument could be made that consciousness is an emergent property too. I sense that some of you are in fact slipping out of consciousness. Fair enough, I can read the sleeping audience. That is all for now, and I will see you on the flip side.